Hi, I'm Adam DeSanctis. Welcome to MBA Ask the Expert, a series where we discuss a timely and important issue with a mortgage industry leader. Today, I'm here with Craig Rebman, Product Evangelist at Dark Matter, to discuss the role of servicing in a capture-recapture strategy and how lenders can use Dark Matter's Elevate servicing platform to help them protect their customer base. Craig, it's great to talk to you again.
Yeah, great to see you again too, Adam. Thanks.
So let's dive in. With all the consolidation in the industry in recent years, how do smaller lenders protect their customer base and compete with the larger IMBs of the world with substantial servicing portfolios tightly connected to their origination business?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It's been coming up quite a bit. When we go out and visit small community banks and credit unions in particular, they're really concerned about protecting their membership, protecting their client bases from poaching by those large lenders who are, they refer to them as being in their neighborhood. And servicing in general is it's because MSRs are countercyclical to originations, they just serve as a great hedge for one another. So lenders who are not doing servicing today, it's something they should really probably look at, but it really does help provide that engine for recapturing business. Once you have that borrower in your system and you're servicing them, it makes it a lot easier to feed that engine of recapture and to protect that existing customer base. That's one of the reasons we've really leaned into our Elevate servicing platform, because it really supports that capture-recapture strategy really well.
You bring up a good point there. So let me ask you, for lenders who don't service loans now or service out of their core banking platform, what are some key considerations they should take into account?
Yeah, there's a lot of areas where a new servicer can kind of bump their head. And particularly when you look at doing a lot of your servicing through a core banking platform, for example, there's not a lot of automation and there's a lot of things that end up having to be done manually. So what we've really focused on with Elevate is automating some of those things so that there's less of that opportunity to kind of bump your head on some of the things that would typically be done. So things like the compliance pieces, the tax reporting, investor reporting, ACH, credit bureau reporting, hello, goodbye, all of those kinds of things end up getting automated on Elevate. That also helps to bring these things kind of full cycle by automating those through, because a core banking system might be able to provide you the data, but it's not necessarily doing the transmission. And Elevate will do that transmission as well. We automate the MI activation files, for example, monitor property tax data, a lot of those things that newer servicers may kind of stub their toe on along the way. But even with all that automation, it's relatively inexpensive to implement, and it has a reduced admin overhead to it. So you can really start with a pretty small shop and do full investor servicing on it, even if you're selling your servicing, but need to do maybe support some interim servicing. Elevate can do that too. So there's a lot of options for lenders, no matter kind of where they are in that spectrum. But again, some of those core things where core banking platforms can kind of fall down a little bit, Elevate helps. Now, when you look at leveraging Elevate for servicing and you're servicing a variety of different things on core banking, you want to make sure that all those things have a common experience. So Elevate also supports auto, consumer, commercial loans, commercial real estate loans, really anything but payment card. And so that allows Elevate to provide that seamless single experience to borrowers.
You can see that being a huge advantage, and it's very interesting to hear from our members all the different ways they're using automation to save time and money. So what does this mean for capture-recapture strategies?
Yeah, because it's really all about retaining that borrower you already won in a past origination, and originations are expensive enough. So the more that we can do to help recapture those clients, the better. So Elevate helps to identify some of those opportunities across the servicing portfolio, not just the mortgage products, but all the other products that are in that total servicing portfolio. So you can end up identifying opportunities to do consolidations into home equity or cash out refis. In some cases, maybe taking an unsecured debt and moving it into a real estate debt to help add some collateral to help cover that unsecured debt. So there's a lot of options and opportunities there by looking across that entire portfolio. But Elevate supports some marketing capabilities to service customers based on that entire relationship. And we're working on some integrations with core banking to help bring in some DDA account information as well to really round out that picture and have the full full experience in there. But the integration with the origination side is really critical in this as well. Making sure you have a seamless onboarding process is pretty critical. One of the things that we've done a little bit differently as we have integrated Elevate into Empower and support the loan boarding process from Empower is rather than having Empower provide a flat file to the servicing system, which is pretty commonly done, instead, Elevate writes to the Empower APIs, and that puts the control of how that data gets into the servicing system's hands. So now Elevate can determine what kind of data it needs on a particular loan basis and pull that information directly from Empower's APIs. Pretty unique in that process. Now, we know that not everybody's on Empower, so there's a lot of other areas that loans need to come in. And so we're also looking at the MISMO loan boarding and servicing transfer data set as one of our 2026 priorities to help make that a cleaner, easier process.
You mentioned those 2026 priorities. We're now a month into 2026, which is hard to believe. So what else is on the roadmap for 2026 for Dark Matter?
Yeah, the MISMO loan boarding and loan transfer data set, absolutely. Core banking integrations are important for us. But another area is really just around the implementation process as a whole. It's a very solid process and it's a very quick process, but it still requires a lot of our involvement. We'd love to make that more self-serve for lenders. So that's probably the third priority for us from a roadmap perspective. But those are the key areas that we're focused on.
Well, Craig, this has been a very informative and timely conversation. Thank you for joining us today on MBA Ask the Expert.
And thank you very much, Adam. Great to talk to you as always.